Stop for a second and listen, because what I'm about to share may be the most useful health message you hear all year. That is not hype. It is not drama. It is because many people over 50 are still not being told something simple, powerful, and backed by years of research. Not And not because it is hard, but because it does not come in a bottle and it cannot be sold like a miracle cure. After decades of studying how the body protects itself at the cell level, one truth keeps showing up again and again. A specific group of daily habits can sharply lower cancer risk later in life. One large long-term study that followed more than 100,000 adults for nearly 3 decades found that healthy daily routines were linked to a much lower overall risk of cancer, in some cases by more than half. That should make all of us stop and think. This is not about fear, it is about power, real power. And in the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 5 habits that build on each other, starting with the most overlooked and ending with the one that may matter most of all. Stay with me, because the final one changes everything. Most people over 60 are doing it badly without knowing it, and fixing it may do more for long-term health than almost anything else. So do not jump ahead. The order matters. Each habit strengthens the next, and by the end, you will know exactly what to start doing tomorrow morning. The first habit in this countdown looks so basic that many people ignore it. That is a mistake. I'm talking about morning water, not someday, not when you remember, right away, before coffee, before breakfast, before scrolling your phone. Drinking about 16 to 20 ounces of cool or room temperature water when you wake up may sound too simple to matter, but aging changes the body in quiet ways. After about age 55, the brain often becomes worse at noticing thirst. Many older adults walk through the day mildly dehydrated and do not even feel it. That matters because your body depends on water to move waste, clear damaged material, and support the systems that help protect tissues from chronic stress. When hydration drops, that cleanup slows down. Waste stays around longer. Inflammation can rise, and long-term inflammation is one of the big conditions that helps disease take root. Some research has linked better water intake with a lower risk of certain cancers, especially in the digestive and urinary systems. Water also helps support autophagy, the cell's cleanup and repair process. Think of it as your body's built-in maintenance crew. With age, that crew gets slower. Good hydration helps it do its job, so keep a glass or bottle by your bed. When your feet touch the floor, drink it, all of it. If you want, add a little lemon for taste. Then make the effect stronger with 10 minutes of gentle movement, even if it is just walking around the house. Water plus movement helps the body move fluid, wake up circulation, and begin the day with a clean, active rhythm. Simple, fast, powerful. Once that foundation is in place, the next layer comes from food. And this is where things start getting interesting. One of the most powerful tools for lowering inflammation and supporting long-term health is something people have eaten for generations, even though modern diets pushed it aside for years. I am talking about fermented foods. Plain yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, and miso are not trendy extras. They are living foods that can help rebuild balance in the gut. And the gut matters more than most people realize. As we get older, the lining of the digestive tract can become weaker and more permeable. In simple words, it can get leaky. That allows unwanted bacterial compounds to move into the bloodstream and stir up inflammation across the body. That constant low-grade irritation creates the kind of environment damaged cells like to hide in. But fermented foods help increase healthy bacteria, improve diversity in the gut, and lower several inflammation markers connected to disease progression. In one study, people who ate more fermented foods alongside fiber showed striking improvements in gut health and reductions in inflammatory proteins. That is a big deal. I once saw an older adult with a strong family history of colon problems and chronic fatigue improve noticeably after adding just 2 daily servings of fermented food to an otherwise decent diet. Energy came back. Lab markers improved. The body responded. One reason may be compounds called short-chain fatty acids, especially butyrate, which healthy gut bacteria make when they feed on fiber. Butyrate helps support the colon lining and may even encourage damaged cells to shut down before they become dangerous. So aim for 1 or 2 servings a day and pair them with foods that feed good bacteria like garlic, onions, leeks, oats, beans, or slightly green bananas. This is where the story starts to shift. Now we move to a habit almost everyone has heard about, but very few people use in the way that gives the deepest protection. I am talking about walking, but not the casual kind where you drift along without effort. I mean steady, purposeful walking at a pace that lifts your heart rate and changes your metabolism. This matters because your body works with fuel, mostly glucose and oxygen, and unhealthy cells often depend heavily on sugar. Moderate movement helps pull glucose out of the blood and into muscles where it can be used, while also sending more oxygen-rich blood through tissues. That creates a tougher environment for harmful cells and a better one for the healthy cells you want to keep strong. Large reviews have found that regular moderate activity is linked with lower risk for several major cancers, including colon and breast cancer. Those are not tiny effects. Those are life-shaping differences. It gets even more important with age because mitochondria, the tiny energy units inside your cells, decline over time. Fewer mitochondria and weaker mitochondria mean slower repair, lower energy, and poorer resilience. Steady walking is one of the best ways to tell the body to build better energy systems again. Think of it as replacing weak batteries in every room of the house. The sweet spot is about 30 to 45 minutes at a pace where you can still talk, but singing would feel hard. Try to do it at least 5 days a week. Morning is ideal, especially before a full meal. One older adult who began a simple morning walking routine after a health scare later showed much better follow-up results and far healthier inflammation markers. That is not magic. That is biology responding to consistent effort. And here is your retention line, because this next part matters even more. If you combine your water habit with this walk, the effect gets stronger. If you can take that walk outside in early daylight, even better. Morning light helps set your internal clock, and that clock controls more than sleep. It shapes hormones, immune timing, energy use, and even how well your body spots cells that do not belong. This is why the habits are not random. They work like gears in the same machine. Water wakes the system, fermented foods support the gut, walking shifts metabolism and circulation, light sets the clock, each one makes the next one work better. But now we come to a food-based habit where the science becomes truly impressive. This one is not just about general wellness. It is about activating protective genes, supporting detox pathways, and helping the body repair DNA before damage becomes something worse. The key player is a natural compound found in cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, and most powerfully, broccoli sprouts. The compound is often called sulforaphane, and its effects have drawn serious attention because it can activate a master protective pathway inside the body. You can think of that pathway as a home security system for your cells. When it turns on, it helps trigger hundreds of protective actions, including antioxidant defense, toxin handling, and support for DNA repair. That is huge, especially after 50, when many of these systems begin to slow down. Research has linked regular intake of these vegetables with lower risk in several cancers, and some studies suggest that this compound may even target the especially stubborn cells linked with recurrence. Those are the cells you do not want to ignore. So, stay with me, because there is one detail almost everyone gets wrong, and fixing that one detail changes how much benefit you get from the food itself. Here's the part most people never hear. Sulforaphane is not sitting in broccoli fully ready to go. It forms when the plant is chopped, crushed, or chewed, because that action allows two natural parts of the plant to meet and create the active compound. But high heat can destroy the enzyme needed for that process. So if you boil or overcook these vegetables right away, you may lose much of the benefit. The smarter move is simple. Chop the broccoli first, or crush it lightly, then let it sit for around 30 to 40 minutes before cooking. That waiting time gives the reaction a chance to happen. After that, use only light steaming for a few minutes instead of heavy cooking. Broccoli sprouts are even stronger and do not need cooking at all. Just a small amount each day can deliver far more of the active compound than mature broccoli. If sprouts are not realistic for you, no problem. A serving of lightly prepared broccoli still matters, and there is a smart trick if your vegetables are already cooked. Add a little raw mustard powder, radish, or another raw cruciferous food beside them. These foods can help restore the enzyme activity and improve the body's access to the good stuff. That small kitchen move can make a major difference. This is why prevention is often not about buying something rare. It is about understanding how ordinary foods really work. That is where the power lives. And yet, even with all of this, we have still not reached the strongest habit on the list. We are almost there. What comes next is the daily pattern that helps switch on one of the body's most important anti-cancer systems. And most adults over 50 are accidentally weakening it every single night. The final habit is sleep, but not just sleep in the loose way people talk about it. I mean deep, regular, well-timed sleep that gives the body enough darkness, enough cooling, and enough consistency to run its repair programs properly. This is where things get serious. During deep sleep, the body does some of its best cleanup work. Waste products are cleared more effectively. Repair signals rise. Immune activity shifts, and one of the most important substances made at night, melatonin, does much more than help you feel sleepy. It acts like a strong internal defender. Research shows it may help slow tumor growth, reduce oxidative stress, and support natural killer cells, the immune cells that search for trouble and destroy it early. That matters because harmful cells can appear in the body from time to time. The difference is whether your internal defenses notice them and act quickly. The problem is that melatonin drops sharply with age. Many people over 60 make much less of it than they did decades earlier. On top of that, modern life attacks sleep from every angle. Bright screens at night, late meals, irregular bedtimes, warm bedrooms, stress, light pollution, all of it chips away at deep sleep architecture. And when that pattern is broken again and again, the body loses one of its strongest repair windows. Some of the strongest warnings in health research have come from long-term sleep disruption, especially in people whose internal clocks are constantly thrown off. That should get your attention because this is not about comfort. This is about biology. And if you fix this one thing, everything you do during the day starts working better too. Let me show you what that can look like in real life. I once worked with an older adult who had spent years sleeping only 5 or 6 broken hours a night, waking often, feeling flat all day. Lab testing showed weak immune activity, especially in the cells that help patrol the body for abnormal changes. The fix was not fancy. We built a strict evening routine, same bedtime, every night, a cool bedroom, complete darkness, no screens in the hour and a half before sleep, no heavy meals close to bedtime, a small serving of tart cherry in the evening to support the natural rhythm. Within weeks, sleep length improved. More importantly, sleep quality improved, and the body began to settle into a deeper pattern. Follow-up testing later showed a strong rise in immune function. The person felt clearer, calmer, and more like themselves again. That story matters because it reminds us that the body can recover when given the right signals. Most adults do best with 7 to 8.5 hours in a dark, quiet, cool room. Try to keep the bedroom around 65 to 68 degrees if possible. Make it truly dark. Even small amounts of light can interfere with your night signals. Keep the wake-up time steady too, not just the bedtime. Your internal clock loves rhythm. It depends on rhythm. And if you want a major boost, get outside into real morning light soon after waking. That early light tells your brain when the day starts, which helps it know when the night should begin. Daylight in the morning, darkness at night, movement in between. This is how you rebuild a pattern the body recognizes. This is not old-fashioned advice. This is modern biology speaking in plain language. When you step back, the picture becomes clear. These 5 habits are not random tips floating around the internet. They are connected signals that tell the body to defend itself better. Morning water helps circulation, waste movement, and cell cleanup. Fermented foods help calm the gut and lower inflammation. Purposeful walking improves metabolism, oxygen flow, and energy systems. Cruciferous vegetables help activate protective pathways and support DNA repair. Deep sleep gives the body the quiet, dark repair window it needs to do its most important work. Put them together and you create a system, not just a checklist. That is the real shift. This is not about chasing one superfood or one supplement or one headline. It is about building a daily environment inside your body where damage is less likely to take hold. And that matters at every age. If you are 55, it matters. If you are 75, it matters. If you already had a scare, it matters. If you feel fine today, it still matters. Prevention is not only for the young. The body keeps listening. It keeps adapting. It keeps responding to what you repeat. That is why daily habits are so powerful. They whisper to your biology every single day. And over time, those whispers become outcomes, better outcomes, stronger outcomes, longer, more independent years. And yes, I know some of this sounds almost too ordinary to be important. A glass of water, a walk, better sleep, a bowl of yogurt, some broccoli sprouts. But that is exactly the point. Big protection often comes from small repeated actions. That is how real change usually happens. So, if you are wondering where to begin with the easiest door to open. Put water by the bed tonight. Buy one fermented food you will actually eat. Set out walking shoes where you can see them in the morning. Add broccoli or sprouts to tomorrow's meal. Choose a bedtime and treat it like it matters, because it does. You do not need to become perfect overnight. You need to become consistent. That is the part that changes lives. And if you are still with me, here is the truth I really want to leave with you. It's not too late. Not too late to improve your internal defenses. Not too late to lower inflammation. Not too late to support repair. Not too late to sleep better, move more, eat smarter, and give your body a better chance. The science does not say you are past your window. It says your choices still matter, deeply, daily, powerfully. So start small, but start, because tomorrow morning is not just another morning. It is another chance to tell your body what kind of future you want it to build. And if this message hit home for you, keep that momentum going. Think about which one of these habits you can begin first. Think about what has been getting in your way. Then make one move today that your future self will thank you for. That is how prevention begins. Quietly, simply, and often far more effectively than most people ever imagine. And let me say one more thing, because this part matters more than people realize. Cancer prevention is not only about what you avoid, it is also about what you give your body every single day so it can do the work it was built to do. Your body is not passive. It is not sitting there helpless, waiting for something bad to happen. It is active every hour, every minute, repairing DNA, clearing waste, removing weak cells, calming inflammation, and sending signals from one system to another in ways most people never even think about. That is why your daily routine matters so much. The body listens to patterns. It reacts to repetition. If your days are full of dehydration, poor sleep, no movement, processed food, and constant stress, that pattern sends one message. But if your days begin with water, light, walking, real food, and a night routine that supports deep rest, that sends a very different message. And those messages add up. Not once, not twice, over months, over years. That is where the real difference begins to show. So please do not make the mistake of thinking these habits are too small to count. That is exactly how people miss the power of them. The things that seem ordinary are often the things that work best because they are repeatable. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need endless free time. You do not need to wait for a health scare to finally take your routine seriously. You only need to decide that your future health is worth a little attention now. That is it. And if you are thinking, this sounds simple, good. It should sound simple. The best habits usually are. The challenge is not understanding them. The challenge is actually doing them long enough for the body to respond. What surprises many people is how fast the body can start responding when you finally give it what it has been missing. More water in the morning can improve how you feel within days. Better sleep timing can change your energy, focus, and hunger signals within a week. Walking consistently can begin improving blood sugar, circulation, mood, and stamina much sooner than most people expect. A healthier gut can change bloating, digestion, and inflammation step by step, meal by meal. That is the part nobody talks about enough. These habits are protective, yes, but they are also restorative. They often make you feel better while they are helping you lower risk. That matters because when you feel the difference, it becomes easier to keep going. And once momentum starts, everything gets easier. One good night of sleep makes it easier to wake up and walk. A morning walk makes it easier to make a better food choice. Better food helps your gut. A healthier gut can improve sleep and inflammation. The cycle starts working for you instead of against you. That is why I keep saying these habits are connected. They are not separate boxes on a checklist. They are a chain reaction. And here is the retention line you do not want to miss. The people who get the biggest benefit are usually not the people doing extreme things. They are the people doing basic things with consistency. That is the secret most people skip over because it is not flashy enough. But it is real, very real. And if you are over 50, this may be the most important time in your life to remember that, because the body may be changing, yes, but it is still responsive. It is still trainable. It is still waiting for direction. What you repeat becomes the environment your cells live in. Never forget that. So if you want a practical way to start, here's what tomorrow could look like. You wake up and drink your water before anything else. You move for a few minutes right away, even if it is just around the kitchen or down the hallway. Then, if you can, you step outside and let natural morning light hit your eyes for a few minutes while you begin your walk. Not a rushed, distracted walk. A real one, a steady one, enough to wake up your breathing and get your blood moving. Later in the day, you eat in a way that adds something helpful instead of just taking things away. Maybe that means yogurt with live cultures. Maybe it means kefir. Maybe it means a forkful of sauerkraut with lunch. Maybe it means broccoli sprouts on top of a salad or lightly steamed broccoli beside dinner. Keep it realistic, keep it repeatable. And as evening comes, you begin dimming the lights around you, lowering the noise, lowering the stimulation, making it easier for the body to recognize that night is coming. You stop eating early enough, you put the phone away, you let your room get cool and dark, you go to bed at a time that respects the fact that repair is not optional. It is one of the main jobs of sleep. This is not a fantasy routine. This is not some impossible wellness plan for people with no responsibilities. This is a simple structure most people can move toward in pieces, maybe not all at once. That is fine. Start with one piece, then another, then another. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to become the kind of person whose daily routine quietly protects their future. That is a much smarter goal than chasing perfection for 3 days and then giving up. And as we close, I want to leave you with this thought. You do not need to live in fear of cancer to take prevention seriously. Fear is not the goal. Awareness is. Action is. Respect for your biology is. There is something deeply hopeful in knowing that your body still responds to care, even later in life. You are not trying to control everything. No one can do that. But you are improving the odds. You are lowering the noise of inflammation. You are supporting repair. You are helping your internal systems do what they were meant to do. That is meaningful. That is powerful. And it is available to you starting now, not next month, not after a diagnosis, not after some perfect Monday that never comes. Now. Tonight, put the water by your bed. Tomorrow, take the walk. This week, add the fermented food. This weekend, bring home the broccoli sprouts or the vegetables you will actually eat. And tonight, maybe for the first time in a while, treat sleep like one of the most important health decisions you make all day, because it is. If even one part of this message stayed with you, do not let it fade into the background by tomorrow. Use it, turn it into action, let it become part of your rhythm. A healthier future is very often built in quiet moments, with small decisions made again and again, long before anyone else can see the result. That is how strong bodies are supported. That is how resilience is built. And that is how prevention begins. Not in one giant dramatic move, but in the steady choice to live in a way that gives your body a better chance to protect you for years to come.